Hello, and welcome to a very mobile episode of At Your End Step. My name is Morgan, and I'm here with Mike.
Ogak.
We have another fun-filled episode for you folks this week. We are actually driving to Gencon, which is the best 4 days in gaming, from what I understand.
No, I'm driving to Gencon. Everyone else in the car is just along for the ride. So,
oh, I mean, for liability purposes, do you really want that recorded on a podcast? Guess we're going with it, but okay.
I mean, I'm just talking. I talk to myself a lot while I'm driving anyways, so that actually might be the one I don't want recorded.
We do have our friend Justin in the car. He's not mic'd up currently, but you might overhear him. We might have to reemphasize some points that he makes that are good ones.
You might overhear him, and then you'll hear the screaming pain when I hit him with a shocker. Cattle prod.
We definitely wanted to we wanted to get an episode for you folks this week, just because obviously a lot happened. We had a lot of stuff happening with the judge community. We had the MC in Barcelona. We had I guess there was a GP as well in Barcelona, and then and then we had the Star City Games Open in Columbus. So we definitely want to talk about all those things. So before we get started, I do want to give a quick shout out to all of our patrons. Thank you so much for contributing to our show every time we release an episode. You can find out more about our Patreon at patreon.com/atyourendstep.
I'm assuming they're the reason we have these cool travel mics now.
Yeah, most certainly. And moving on to our community topics. So we have the big announcement, the big thing to really talk about is the Judge Academy. So the judging program as it stands, as we know it, is going to be fundamentally changing a little bit. It's going to be...
No, it's going to cease to exist. I want you to understand, it's not fundamentally changing. It's gone.
Sure.
So
as Mike said, it's going to be gone. What's replacing it is something called the Judge Academy. And the Judge Academy is sort of a source for certification for not only Magic judges, but there's going to be, I think, Keyforge and then other various games going forward. That they're going to be using it as a resource for certification of judging staff, basically.
Yeah, the Judge Academy is also responsible for giving out things like the Judge Oscars, the Judge Grammys, the Judge Tonys.
The
Judge Emmys.
They are going to be responsible for...
and the Judge Newbery Award winner.
Of course.
For Children's Lit.
Yeah. They are going to be responsible for mailing out judge foils. They will get them from WotC and then disperse them amongst judges, which is true. But they also are going to be handling certification, which is kind of the big thing. And I know that a judge friend of ours also compared it to like getting like an IT certification. So like if you don't understand how those work, there is like something called CompTIA, which is a organization that helps people helps facilitate people getting those certifications, like an A+ certification, Network Plus certification. So something akin to that to some degree.
I'm a part of a coaching body that like pays dues. And then most of that's organizational as well. It's also been compared to like if you are an umpire or a referee, and like you're part of a national organization for accreditation. Like most of those organizations have dues. Mm-hmm. They offer you certifications that you wouldn't otherwise be able to get, which offers you legitimacy, just like any of those other setups. So
correct. And you do mention dues. There are going to be dues for this organization as well, varying levels. I believe there are still going to be what do they call them?
Rules advisors.
Rules advisors, which is either a free title or $50, which would allow you to gain access to some of the learning things that they will have on there to get you ready for certification for like a level 1. From what I understand, a level 1 judge would have to pay $100 a year. A level 2 judge, is it $200 or $300?
It's $200,
and then a level 3 judge is $400. Now with that, you do get a consummate amount. Consummate amount, is that the right word?
Consummate is perfect, so no.
You get a certain amount of foils depending on your level. For a Rules Advisor, they do not get judge foils. For level 1, you get one of each 2 times a year.
You get 4, right? 4 for each way. Like on the first level, that's like 4, then 8, then like 32. Like is like the yearly total or something like that.
Level 1 gets a mailing of 4 twice a year. Level 2 gets 2 mailings of 4 twice a year. And level 3 gets 4 mailings of 4 twice a year.
Yeah. Okay. So if you couldn't hear Justin there, so yeah, it's 2 mailings of 4, and then 4 mailings of, or no, 1, 2, 4.
Yeah.
So yeah. So but so you get a lot of foils.
Correct.
Ostensibly.
And that's kind of the going forward, there won't be an exemplar program that they have right now. That's actually
it's suspended.
I
won't say there won't be an exemplar
sure.
program, but
so it is on a hiatus currently.
There's secondary problems for why that was going on hiatus, anyways.
Yeah.
But yes, it is gone currently.
And there is a lot of information, about this that's going around. They have they have a FAQ on their website. They have a Twitter account, which I do suggest following if this is something that's going to be interesting you going forward. They did an Ask Me Anything on Reddit. Now, obviously, there have been a lot of opinions about this entire thing happening. That maybe some bad actors are trying to purposely really be negative about this and attack it, and purposely try to be disingenuous, which a few of the judge people that we have talked to and reached out to have said. So take anything that you read from that with a grain of salt. Obviously, the answers from the Judge Academy are genuine. But just know that there are those things in play with this. This is obviously a massive change to kind of how this is being run. And a lot of people feel a lot of different ways about it, to be perfectly honest. And, there's a lot of questions. I think, like, it's one of those things that it's hard. It's hard for me to really have an opinion on it, to be honest. And to be, like, really, like, solidified an opinion, if that makes any sense. Like, I'm just not close enough to it to be able to formulate anything valid, in my opinion.
Yeah, so like I said, we reached out to a judge friend of ours specifically, and I thought it was fairly interesting. He was going to give us his thoughts on it, and he ended up writing us a small book,
Sure.
Which was pretty interesting. And overall, he seemed pretty positive of it. He's pretty ingrained, in the system. And there's some things that I agree with him on, and some things I didn't agree with. I think overall that the dues process, like, just having been a part of other organizations for that, I know some people have made a union comparison. I would say very strongly it's not that, because you're not getting any sort of job placement or protection from this.
Yeah.
If you're a bad judge, they're not doing anything for you.
Right.
It's not all doom and gloom, and you can probably, even as an L1, more than make that money back on your foils if you want to. I'm not saying that should be the purpose, but you can. I know some of those people you said who were maybe bad actors are really frustrated with them not being very transparent with the way the money's being spent, and to some amount I do agree there. Most dues-paying organizations actually do offer a lot of insight into how they spend their money, because they take so much money from their dues, but it's possible that because of whatever this contract is with WotC very much doesn't want you to see how much they're paying for these foils or anything else. And I think it's that agreement which leaves me the most frustrated by all of this, is that WotC wants to wash their hands of this because of the lawsuits that were filed a couple years ago. But they also ostensibly need people to judge their game, and compared to other games, as our judge friend said, judging for Magic is a much higher prestige and tier level. The average person judging an event, you could expect to be competent compared to, honestly, the high level of cheating that goes on in other major games, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, what have you. And I think that WotC trying to pretend that's not important, while at the same time acknowledging it is, it's such a weird area to plant your feet as an organization. Hey, you guys are really important, not important enough to do any sort of legal commitment here, except for this kind of backdoor handshake, but I don't know. That is weird to me. And I think that's the point of criticism I can see the most, where ostensibly, as has been said multiple times, that agreement is the only thing that separates the Judge Academy from you and I starting up Uncle Buck's Judge Academy for winners, right? Because why couldn't we? What that certification is, I think which was really, really cut and dry before, becomes maybe less cut and dry now. You know what I mean? And Justin, maybe this is one thing I don't know. Is Judge Apps still remaining?
It's up for now. Come October, when the existing program, goes away, I foresee it being either reduced or going away. But the records that they have on there, as far as judge levels and their activity and events you've done, and reviews and whatnot, I have to imagine that'll either be transferred or saved by someone. As
maybe archived by the Judge Academy. Morgan, do I have to repeat a lot of that? Do you think they...
So as far as I know, what Justin said is it's up currently, and as far as what I know from what the Judge Academy said in their FAQ is that it's not going away. It might exchange hands as to who is monitoring it or what have you. I'm not sure, but I don't think it's going away because that's currently how you...
That's how you staff.
Yeah, correct.
But so here's the thing, though. The Judge Academy won't be associated with that at all, right?
I don't know. That's something that they do cover in the fact, though.
Well, but they said that they are not part of staffing. That is something they explicitly said.
Yeah.
So I think it's interesting what might come of that. I think that our friend we reached out to again was pretty positive on it, but also felt that they're in a position in their life where they could also just walk away if it's bad, because of other things in their life. And I don't know if that's ultimately true, especially for the younger judges who spend a lot of time traveling, this sort of that. I could see this being pretty frustrating. I know that there was also some frustration expressed with, again, the leadership board and the regional coordinators, because a lot of people felt like it was, it looks a little bit stacked towards people who've been around longer. And that's not necessarily wrong. If someone's going to create a Judge Academy, I don't want we kind of know what judges are, let's do this. But at the same time, one of the biggest criticisms I know that I've had against some of the issues in the judge program in general has been the sort of favoritism that happens with staffing. It can be very hard to break into these things because people like their people and they get used to their teams and they know this and that. So I think there's some frustration with that as well, because if you don't trust these people, then you're not going to feel represented by them anyways.
Correct. Sorry, I'm just looking through the FAQ and see if I could find anything about the Judge apps. Cause
yeah, I'm certainly not quoting there, but they definitely said they were not handling staffing. So I would assume that means they're not going to be handling Judge apps. So, but I feel like if you're invested in the judge program this. This probably doesn't change too much for you. I will say that if you're L1, L2, you have about a month or so. Some people might not have that extra money to scrape together immediately, which is awkward. Right. But again, it's not necessarily different than other situations like that. However, there's plenty of things where if I want to go be a high school baseball umpire, well, great, you're probably gonna have to join some sort of umpire academy, quote unquote, for your accreditation. It's just how accreditations work, and that's how the legitimacy is brought. Unfortunately, this is a pretty quick change for those people. So again, we know that there was a sort of October deadline that had to be reached. And I'm assuming if you're a judge, you're probably breathing a sigh of relief knowing that something is still in existence. But I don't blame anybody for looking at the Judge Academy, FAQ, and being you know what, no, this isn't for me and I'm done. But I also think that the people on that AMA who were oh, well, we're just not going to have judges anymore, I think that's wildly incorrect as well. Does this mean less judges overall? I wouldn't be surprised. I just wouldn't. But I don't know if you're paying attention to competitive Magic. We might not need as many judges. So
I mean, that's kind of trtrue.
I mean, your MCQs don't even need a judge technically.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't by guidelines. So, yep. But of course, nothing. That's where I have to get confused here, right? Because WotC again doesn't want to acknowledge that judges are a necessary thing, so they can't have judges required for events. Is that true? Right? Because they're not employees. What is a judge? It's this mythical thing that they don't employ. So, I don't know how any of this works.
Yeah, I'm not...
And again, maybe some of that is where some of that frustration from the people in reaction to this is. It's just okay, it's not, but it is, but it's not, but it is, but it's not.
Right. And I mean, that can definitely be frustrating. No doubt about that.
Just want to say, we just passed a camper, and the brand was Trail Manor. You know what? That's a classic camper. Like, oh, welcome to Trail Manor.
Welcome to my Trail Manor.
So we're going to write my sequel to Wuthering Heights. Trail Manor.
All right. So we did, on the previous episode, ask for some feedback about the new sort of Eldraine booster products that are going to be, I guess, the Throne of Eldraine booster products that are going to be coming out. We did receive some feedback from our listeners, so thank you so much for doing so and taking the time out of your day to talk with us about it and everything like that.
Hey, easy, don't make it seem like we're desperate.
I mean, I just want to thank them. They took the time. I appreciate it.
That's true.
So one of our listeners kind of made the point of making it easier to access, these sort of premium cards, these beautiful cards for things like Cube, and that has a sort of a lower threshold to entry, making things like getting those foils easier to get, basically, summarization.
And the comparison there being like two masterpieces, which were great.
Correct.
And like I say, were great as far as like value, but the rarity and the price of them did not make them really attainable for the average player. Whereas ostensibly, by opening a pack with 15 of these with dedicated slots, if you're looking for a specific one, you can get it either by buying the pack or getting access to the cards.
Correct.
Discussing with this person, I still don't necessarily like. I'm excited. Like, we asked like who would want this, and I know that I was pretty down on them as a product. I guess I'll wait and see what the distribution looks like. If it's the kind of thing where you have the person who wants to buy it gets to buy it because they want to put those cards in their cube, because they want those cards, then yeah, absolutely go for it. That's how that product should be. But I worry still by making them limited run. The boxes are confirmed to have 12 packs in a box. I don't think those people, like this person, who want to buy them and want this lower, I don't think that's what's going to happen. And if it just bought out just like the Mythic editions were because they're limited run, then I don't necessarily think that makes them less expensive or easier to get.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong, and I said maybe the model will work, but and I could just be jaded, but it just seems like a way for people to take advantage of these people who do want those cards. And don't get me wrong, I'll probably want some of those cards. Like if one of those cards is in Battle Box, I'm gonna go for the weird one. That's why I have the Ammon Kick Counter Spell and Wrath of God in my Battle Box.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. I want to pimp things out too. We're all there, but the distribution model for it is still, I don't know. I value the opinion. I enjoyed masterpieces because I felt like it made things fun, but I could also see you just being like, you know what, I know I'm going to open this pack and get some amount of the value that I want and see some of the cards I want.
Yeah, it's built in, which is nice. And again, I'm going to be with you on this one, where it's just like, if people can get it for reasonable prices and buy it from their local game store and have that experience, then great. But I just have a feeling that people are going to be buying these for double the price on eBay because someone's bought them all out. Yeah,
that's. I mean, one thing I'll point to for that is not game day. What was the other one? The weekly event where you can get special packs.
Sure, Showdown.
Thank you. You should go look on eBay. Showdown packs were not cheap, and a lot of people just either won them in bulk, which is not a thing, or just turned around and sold a bunch of them. And they didn't really get distributed the way they were supposed to. I think that's one of the reasons why some of that is shifting a little bit when you're getting these promo packs now, as opposed to just those Showdown packs. Now, granted, that's always been true with promos and things like that. There's always going to be those people who, instead of giving it out to their players, they turn around and sell a bunch of them. But it just, I don't know, it worries me. I do also want to make mention, because a couple people reached out about Brawl and being like, you mentioned as far as gatekeeping, it wasn't what I was trying to do. I'm very excited that people are excited for Brawl, want to play Brawl. It's not going to make me like the card. It's not going to make me like the signet. But I'm happy that I'm happy it exists if it's going to make the format exist. So I'll leave it at that.
Fair enough. And the last thing that we wanted to talk about here in the community was the Throne of Eldraine novel that's going to be coming out. It's going to be coming out as an ebook. It is called Throne of Eldraine, The Wildred Quest.
Is it Wildred or Wildred?
Wildered.
Yeah,
Wildered.
Wildered?
Wildered.
Wildered.
By Kate Elliott. And Kate Elliott, you might remember that name. She was the author that penned the Nicobolus origin story, which a lot of people really liked from Core Set 2019. So again, this is going to be an ebook. We are still getting like physical books for the Greg Weisman.
Well, at least one physical book, right?
Yeah.
The sequel to the Ravnica novel.
Correct. But this is pretty exciting, and this will actually be out before the set.
Yeah, I'm very happy about that. Can we just talk about how good that change is?
Yes.
I'm a person who enjoys these. I know some people are upset because this is seemingly replacing the weekly flavor stuff.
Sure.
But I enjoy reading a little longer narratives about these places, and I really like as much as I didn't really like Theros. Like I enjoyed Godsend a lot, which was this ebook model. So I'm okay with this. Hopefully they'll still give some flavor bits on the website a little bit.
Yeah,
but
maybe.
It's an interesting title.
It is an interesting title, and it's going to be out on September 4th when it releases.
Good. So I look forward to reading it and like then being excited when I'm like I like reading it and then going, ooh, I wonder what this will look like on a card, and then being like, oh, okay, this is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So before we talk about our competitive side of things, I do want to give a quick shout out to our lovely sponsor, Comic Town. You can find them out. You can find them at World.
You can find out all about it.
You can find out about all the things that they offer at worldcomictown.com. Again, upcoming events. I know that there is, and I'm looking it up right now. There's going to be a event on August 10th it's an IQ, and I'm trying to find out the details of it here.
Don't forget they have their anniversary event on August 17th.
Yeah, I'm looking at it up too.
How many years, Justin? 25 years of Comic Town.
25
That's
whole
crazy.
years. So, so on August 10th, there's going to be a 1K invitational qualifier for Modern. So that'll be, I think, starting at 12. So it'll be probably, registration opens at 11. And I imagine it'll be $30 to $35 to enter.
I'm enjoying all this guessing as we're trying to look at it. This is
$35 for entry. Now this will be still before any sort of
this is a
ban and restricted announcement.
Pre-banning, so
get yourself ready for that.
Yeah, it's going to be all Hogak all the time.
All the time. And then, yes, on August 17th, they are going to be having their 25th anniversary event, number 1. But you can find out more information about both those events by visiting worldofcomictown.com, and also check out their comic book podcast, Black, White, and Red, all over.
I get it.
All right. So competitive, we're first going to talk here about, it's first of all going to be a lot of Modern, and it's going to be summed up pretty succinctly and quickly. I don't know how much we really want to dive into it, but Modern's still in a bad place as it stands, and we'll talk about some of the results of the tournaments that we watched. I think the one we could probably surprisingly go through the quickest is going to be Mythic Championship 4 at Barcelona. It was won by Terrell Severin, notably famous for Arena Boys, the video series he does with Riley Knight, and I couldn't be happier.
Riley Knight, getting to commentate some of his matches and barely containing his excitement, unbridled joy.
Yeah.
It's just, man, it was great. Did you see when they had them all standing before he won? They all had him behind the curtain area when he at the end of it, they're all to go out and congratulate him. It was pretty great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It was pretty great.
He defeated Alvaro Fernandez Torres in the finals. Terrell was playing Tron, just mono green Tron.
He's the hero. I want you to understand where Modern is right now.
He's the hero.
Who's the hero that can defeat Hogak in every event? It's apparently mono green Tron, so that's exciting.
And he defeated Hardened Scales in the finals.
Okay, can we talk about how did that deck make it to the finals?
I don't know.
One of
the boys get real big.
One of the top 5 decks in the format plays 4 main deck copies of Karn the Great Creator, and this guy's I don't care.
Yeah, I don't know.
So 20% of the time, my deck may literally not be able to function, but the rest of the time, it's real good.
It's true. We also have Eldrazi Tron.
That's the one that plays the card creator.
Jund, Hogak, Jund again, Mono Red Phoenix, and then Urza Thopter Sword there in the finals. And I think like a lot of the names that we do have here are still they're relatively unknown to me. But we do have Martin Mueller being one of the known names here in the top 8. And we have a lot of decks that got 8 wins. And if you're looking at this via like MTG Goldfish, after you read out the top 8, it goes into decks that have 8 wins. And it's literally just Hogak, 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 Hogak Dredge, humans. And that's really like, unfortunately, the takeaway that has really kind of swept across all modern tournaments that really happened was that Hogak was a very powerful presence. Even I don't want to focus even on the Mythic Championship, to be perfectly honest. Just the sheer fact that you have draft, you have like a different portion of the tournament
to be fair,
that does affect some of the like top 8.
The top 8, yes, but we got undraft win rates, the Hogak decks were the far and above the best decks.
Correct.
Like without draft. So like it's not. Yeah, you're right. The top 8 doesn't tell the whole story there. I do think what's interesting about the top 8, listening to the Arena Decklist cast, if you listen to that cast, Jerry Thompson played Jund.
Right.
And broke down his decision for Jund. And myself and other people on our Discord were like, I disagree with pretty much everything he's saying. But he definitely predicted 2 copies of Jund in the top 8 and a copy or 2 of Mono Red Phoenix.
Yeah.
And even though he didn't do well, and watching the format evolve, I had like the Lynn Swan in the Waterboy moment where like he got told the score and he's like, that's not going to be it. And like at the end of the game, he's like looking up at the scoreboard like, oh no. How did this happen? So, yeah, good luck buying, I guess, Ren in 6 ever for any reason.
Yeah, don't. I mean, it. To like, I know like the main enemy definitely is Hogak because there's a lot. Oh, there's so much of it. Just looking through here, so much. Ren in 6 is just Deathrite Shaman though, right?
Apparently. We should probably take a moment. Maybe we should make our own mini cast and just like apologize for being wrong about Modern Horizons. Every card in that set's broken. I don't know what to tell you. Every single one's broken. It's just what it is.
Yeah.
Did you see the Open had the Open in the Classic had a bunch of copies of what's called Gruul Phoenix?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not gonna play that deck because I'm not gonna get Ren in 6. No. I'm just not.
Oh, I mean, like the mana base is pretty expensive. Pretty expensive.
I'm actually fine on that. I have that. Nope, just don't have
Ren in 6.
Don't have Ren in 6.
Yeah, you're not Ren in 6 flooded.
No, unfortunately. So.
I don't know really what else to say about the Mythic Championship. To be honest,
I guess I want to give a little bit of credit to, as far as the production for it, sticking with Frank Karsten. They sometimes the announcers, like especially when a Hogak deck would lose, they'd be like, "See, it's like this and that," but like Karsten never shied away, and they gave real numbers. Like they didn't try to pretend it wasn't a problem. You know what I mean? And we're gonna see a banning. It's gonna happen.
For sure.
It may just be Hogak, and we'll see about that. Maybe they'll finally be brave with the format, but there's a problem, and I felt like it was good. Like they never got like negative, and they shouldn't. That's not the place of coverage. But they also didn't pretend like it wasn't a thing. You know what I mean? And again, I'll especially mention Frank Karsten because he's our numbers guy and he's the best. And I think that's important for them to have been like, you know what? There's a lot of Hogak.
Yeah.
So
next up we do have the GP. And I was trying to see if they actually gave numbers for the GP, and at the very least, I don't have a top 8.
Yeah, here's the thing. When I was looking at deck lists, putting stuff together for Gen Con, I forgot there was a GP because even MTG Goldfish didn't have a GP listed.
You were correct.
So I know that Andrea Mangucci didn't top 8.
He did not.
Which was a running storyline was if he was going to get his first GP top 8. So sorry for him.
Condolences. And I think that's been like probably the hardest thing with switching over to channel Fireball coverage and all that jazz.
Yeah.
Getting top 8 stuff for their GPs is just abysmal. So I know that had a Esper control list that I did see. and some Jund lists. Jund was also popular there as well.
Makes sense.
I'm pulling up the information on it.
Yeah, no, it's
right
good.
now.
I was just like figuring out how we should fill in the silence.
Just talking awkwardly is perfectly fine with me.
What I will make mention of, one thing coming out of the MC, and we'll get to the open and stuff as well, but I will say, I really hope the WotC takes a good look at this. We can continue to harp about the whole like paper Magic and what they're going to do. A lot of pros expressed their frustration with that this weekend, but also like the modern format in general got some really negative feedback from the people playing it. And there's just it seems like there's a lot of disruption, and I think that's kind of, I just hope the WotC pays attention, both with the eye towards bannings and an eye towards some sort of announcement about like what's going on in the future. You have players like Christian Calcano, who's just a fan favorite, he's a pro favorite among pros, who he's not qualified for any more PTs. And he doesn't, and he was, he would have ostensibly been silver, but silver doesn't exist anymore, so who knows? Paul Rietzel is now off the train and has no idea what's going on going forward. You had people like Sam Black like expressing their hope that paper MCs continue to be a thing, because we don't know what next year looks like. We know that we're not going to have like MCQs here coming shortly, so that'll be interesting. Mm-hmm. We also had some people like switch like content creators, like PV no longer is working for Channel Fireball, and apparently now works for Star City Games as a writer. And Mike Sigrist, who we don't know, he said he's taking the summer, according to Twitter, to try and figure some stuff out. But I don't know, maybe I'll sick Dave on him, like, hey, go message your friend. And
I'm sure.
Scoop. We need that scoop.
We need a hot scoop. So I do have the top 8 here. So we have Humans, Urza, Thopter Sword, Eldrazi Tron, Jund, Is It Phoenix, Esper Control, and then Jund again to round out the top 8. And then Hogak. Bensek top 8 with Hogak.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot. Congrats to Bensek.
Yeah.
So I know a couple people were really pulling for him as sort of a
he's a crowd favorite, as it were. So I did want to just talk about the Esper list real quick, just for some things that we're kind of seeing.
I have not seen it, so
really the splash isn't too bad. You're playing your consummate. I don't want to say that word.
I don't know what word you're trying to say.
I don't know.
So,
it's stuck in my head.
Do you know why I know consummate so quickly?
What?
Because of Trogdor the Burninator.
Oh,
because of consummate V's. Consummate. Guy wouldn't know Majesty who came up bit him in the butt. I think it's bit him in the face, but whatever.
We have our black lands that we're playing. So we have like our polluted deltas, watery graves. We even have a creeping tar pit sneaking in here.
I get it,
because it's unblockable.
Yeah, and I got it.
And the standout card that we see is Kaya's Guile as sort of being a cool card.
Is that list playing 3 copies?
Correct.
Okay, I did see this list.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So, and then Esper Charm as well. But yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting. We have some sideboard cards like Plague Engineer and Unmoored Ego showing up.
How many copies of Teferi was he running?
Which one?
Little Teferi.
2.
Okay, because I remember that people were talking on Twitter. Little Teferi and Esper Charm. It's real sick.
That's dirty.
It's like, ooh, how many cards did you draw, Step? Yeah, get rid of them. They're gone now.
Goodbye.
So, yeah.
But yeah, I think like that's an interesting take. Blue-White has shown itself to be somewhat of a popular choice. You mentioned the Arena Deck List podcast. They were kind of torn between Jund and Blue-White as being like possible viable strategies for the MC, so it's kind of interesting to see. Esper still might have some discussion, especially with Kaya's Guile.
Kaya's Guile is definitely a spicy one for that. I know we're playing some Modern and Gencon this weekend, and I have sleeved up Blue-White and brought that with me. I'm just going to run 4 Rest in Pieces all over the place. So
yeah, 100%.
So, but Kaya's Guile is a good look for that.
All right. The only other thing that I think people talked about Modern is like sort of this presence of Urza Thopter Sword. So it was a little bit at the MC. I know that I know that's what BBD played.
Yes.
Was an interesting Thopter Sword list, and obviously we see a top 8 here with it. Are you worried that once Hogak, and hopefully the card Hogak just gets banned, with that gone, do you see these sort of Thopter Sword lists like becoming top dog or taking over.
When we first had the Bridge from Below banning, that's why I talked about it. I think that was a deck that certainly stood to gain, and even with Hogak running around, it's still here. There are some interesting lists, some 4-color lists of the MC as well.
Yeah,
that could sort of combo out of nowhere. The 4-color list I was playing Teferi. It was pretty interesting, little Teferi.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I think like it's legitimately something to worry about. That version is playing like Arkham's Astrolabe has become really important, and that card, what a common, like
it's warped,
destroyed Pauper.
Yeah.
Like
everything's an Astrolabe deck.
Now, granted, I definitely played enough Pauper to know that like more than half the decks I had built played 4 Prophetic Prism, so it's not like there wasn't already something like that.
Sure.
So, but 1 mana is a big difference, and Snowlands are important.
Yeah.
But when I was looking at sideboard stuff this weekend for Blue-White, I was like, oh man, like I wonder if Stony Silence is not a bad choice for this weekend because of like in my mind like there is a deck, and then I realized that deck doesn't really care about Stony Silence.
Not as much as you wanted to. Yeah.
Like yes, it turns off like the specific combo, but like Urza still does its thing.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. So and like that deck is just trying to sometimes get out like a Snaring Bridge. Yeah, it still just does that too. Because your activated ability for getting that into play is literally on your Goblin. You know what I mean? So, I think it's a deck you definitely have to watch. It's the nice thing I think that's keeping it in check right now is that as far as its combo element, it's held in check by things like Lay Down in the Void and your Rest in Peace and stuff, just like everything else is. So, but like, man, if Hogak is banned and you're not having people splashing as much graveyard hate, then yeah, I think that the deck's tough to beat.
Yeah.
So, good card, and instead of Urza's just in a good place. If Jund is resurgent, your build is pretty important because like if it Phoenix and Jund and like Eldrazi Tron, Lightning Bolt doesn't kill Urza.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just doesn't. And like we saw multiple times on the weekend, the interaction between like Liliana the Veil and Urza is also not good for the Liliana the Veil deck because it bringing a construct with it makes it really awkward.
Yeah.
So I think like it's a resilient card and it's a powerful deck. So I think they're gonna have to watch it. I think Shahar Shenhar was the one who mentioned like banning a card's cascading impact on the format.
Yeah.
Because he's like, well, if you ban Hogak, then like maybe this. He suggested that maybe we had time for Hogak to adjust the format. No, multiple decks in the Pro Tour were playing main deck Leyline of the Void, and it was Aaron Forsyth who said that was okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. What in what world? In what world should we be doing
if you're
that?
just playing cards that are good against your opponent's deck.
Yes, cards in the expected meta. That means your expected meta is broken.
Correct.
I gave credit to them for Frank Carson being straightforward and stuff. Aaron Forsyth actually deletes all that credit. Because it's so frustrating. We're just like, maybe it was a good call this weekend. I don't think people were suggesting it wasn't a good call this weekend. I think they're suggesting that like they don't want to play Magic in the format where that's a good call.
Yeah, like I shouldn't have to make this call.
And here's the thing, it was a good call, and it still didn't stop them.
Nope.
At all.
They still did real good.
They are the bulk of the 8-2 decks. They have the highest win percentage. It doesn't do anything. Now, granted, some of the decks that were playing main deck Leyline were also Hogak decks because why not? Just make them all kiss. but yeah, no. So I think like you've got to pay. Like WotC has to pay attention to that. And again, like in my perfect world, we'd see a bunch of bans all at once. You know what I mean? Just ban Hogak, ban Faithless Looting, ban Mox Opal. Just get it all done, and then let Modern fix itself.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
But we'll see.
We will see. That is for sure. All right. So moving on from Barcelona, let's talk about Columbus. So we of course had the Star City Games Columbus Open that happened. It was won by Dominic Harvey playing Mono Green Tron. So it was a good weekend for Tron apparently, defeating Bobby Colgrove.
Yeah, we haven't had our obligatory Bobby Colgrove shout out in a while.
That's true.
So.
It's been some time. So, congrats and condolences. Unfortunately, you didn't quite get there.
A hearty Hogak to you, sir.
A hearty Hogak to you. Also, I gotta give a shout out to
what?
A shout out. All right, a shout out.
I'm getting a little blue back there, Morgan.
A shout out to Riley Curran for getting 9th place.
For Riley Curraning himself. Yes.
Yes, correct.
So I'm sorry, bud.
The rest of the top 8 looks like this. We have Hogak at 3rd place. Is it Phoenix in 4th? Hogak in 5th place, Mono Green Tron in 6th, Hogak in 7th place, and then Grixis Urza in 8th.
Yep, cool.
So this was a purely modern tournament, obviously, and we kind of see that Hogak's real good.
Yeah, weird. And again, the hero that can stop this menace is Tron. No.
Do you want that?
No.
Is that the format that you want?
No one wants that. Ever.
So, again, we just talked about Grixis Urza, but Harlan Fear played a list to an 8th place finish. And then we do have Is It Phoenix is another deck that can sometimes get there versus these Hogak decks.
Here's the thing, like that matchup I think is pretty firmly in the Hogak side of it. I know some people are pushing back and forth, but Thing in the Ice does not do the amount of work you want it to do. Like, it's not like it's humans where you're resetting them. Most of their stuff, if they have to discard their hand size or something, okay, they just discard all their Vengevines and like they're right back at it again. With the white, whatever Reeboks. What's
with the white Vans.
Vans, that's what Daniel wore. Okay, damn. Anyways, but I don't think that matchup is very good at all for the Phoenix deck, and that blue-red Is It Phoenix does not have access to the same consistent graveyard hate. Now you're jamming a bunch of ley lines into that deck, and that's super clunky. It's like, oh well, you can cast them. Ha ha ha. You're dead on turn 4. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
But like, I think that Is It Phoenix is in a really weird place while Hogak's in the format. So
I agree.
It's unfortunate. They certainly have the draws, just like Hogak has the draws. But the problem is the Hogak deck does it more consistently.
Yeah.
So
we also have.
I want to point out, we keep saying the Hogak deck. Yes, there's differentiation between the Soul Time and the Jund list.
They all do the same.
Yeah,
thing.
It doesn't really matter.
It doesn't matter. We all know what you're trying to do.
Yeah. Okay.
Stop it.
Okay.
We also have Zan Sage showing up with a interesting build of Phoenix with Gruul Phoenix. This list is doing so by playing Ren in 6. We already kind of talked about this, but this is where it actually shows up here in the tournament. I think like when you're looking at this versus Mono Red versus something like even not Phoenix, but the not Mastery, Prowess.
Yeah.
The Mono Red Prowess decks. I think like overall, maybe the Prowess decks might be a little bit faster than the Phoenix, so maybe that's where you may want to look if you're still wanting to play this style of deck. But these kind of lists, and I've been genuinely surprised with how much the Mono Red list, the Mono Red Phoenix list, still sticks around and still like continues to see play. You would think that with the prevalence of like Is It Phoenix and that being a viable strategy, that people over time would just slowly drift over to that style of play. I understand they're still different. Like the Mono Red Phoenix deck is definitely somewhat different than blue red in your play styles.
I'll be honest, it's not somewhat different. It's drastically different.
Fair enough. I've never played the deck, so.
and like it's kind of my deck du jour. It's the other deck I have sleeved up for this weekend. The blue red Phoenix deck is definitely like trying to be very, very consistent, right? Mm-hmm. But its consistency is at the cost of speed. Like it can definitely flip like early things in the ice. It can have draws where it has multiple Phoenixes, but for the most part, it's not doing that as quickly. The mono red deck is definitely just trying to take advantage of huge turns very quickly, especially as they've more adapted into these prowess builds. That has more one drops. You're trying to win the game quickly. I think the addition of Ren and 6 is interesting, but it does slow it down a little bit.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But I mean, having the ability to like bring back a land just to have like extra cards and card eluding to make those better is powerful.
Yeah.
Was he playing any cycling lands in that list?
I don't believe so.
I wouldn't be surprised to see like if you start going that way, then like big
fiery. So he was playing like Horizon lands.
Horizon lands. I could see playing just like a Forgotten Cave. You know what I mean? Like
no Forgotten Cave, but still we have a fiery islet, islet,
yes,
and then a Sunbaked Canyon.
Gotcha. And that's obviously good enough, anyways. And being able to ping for one is good too. But yeah, you're definitely slower with Ren and 6, but it does give you some longer outs maybe than you had before.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, and he said that with the mono red list that he was playing, like he felt like he was getting a little too flooded on things like Gutshot and Lava Dart.
Oh, 100%.
So he's like, I wanted to play another card that had the same effect, but also gave me some sort of value, and that's where he stumbled across Wrenn and 6. So they did do a deck tech with this deck. So if you want to check out, something that was actually covered in it, I do suggest it. It's definitely full of a lot of good information about the particular list. If you happen to own Wrenn and 6s and are Wrenn and 6 flooded, you can put on your monocle and play this lovely deck.
Bully. I will say, like, I would need to see, maybe it's just a format, I would need to see some evidence that makes me want to keep playing the version with Wrenn and 6. Like, I don't know about the speed, but I don't disagree with his point. You do end up with, sorry if I just touched the mic.
No, you're good.
I do end up with draws where you have too many ping effects and not enough gas with it, and that giving you a little bit something else to do is interesting. And it's a deck that wants to hit its land drops, but not have too many lands. And it's also a deck that wants to be able to flashback Lava Dart consistently, but still cast its spells. So Wrenn and 6 makes a lot of sense from those, when you look at those ideas, like those key points.
Sure. When we look at the classic, to shift gears a little bit, it's the modern classic, and we do have 4-color Urza being the winner of the tournament here. I don't see any. There you go. So we have 1 Teferi Time Raveler here in the sideboard. I don't see any main deck, but this is the one that has both red for actually just for gear per Aether Grid is what your red splash is for, and then we have like wear and tear in the sideboard, and then your white splash here is going to be for Teferi Time Raveler, and that's about it. Yeah. On MTG Goldfish, they just have like the hardest time representing like a snow. It's like it says SNO and then a plane symbol. You're like, I don't have a little picture for this.
That's a cool tattoo. SNO plane symbol.
And then we have some interesting ones that are showing up. We have Amulet Titan in second place, and then humans. And then...
Stop the podcast. Not for real. Don't actually stop the podcast.
Okay, sorry.
SNO plane symbol?
Yeah.
That's Snow White.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't get that joke. I just went right over it.
No, it just cracked in my brain. It's Snow White.
Oh, I get it.
Oh, man.
That's great.
That actually is a good tattoo. Now somebody has to get it.
We dare you.
Like, you could be...
We as a podcast do not explicitly endorse getting a tattoo.
I'm Snow White.
Like I said, second place we have Amulet Titan, and then humans. Then another mono green Tron here in fourth, and hilariously, very very similar last name to someone we have in the car, but I'm assuming no relation.
No, they're good at Magic, so definitely not.
Oh wow, I guess.
Man, I have to assume it's Justin's last name.
Yeah,
because it's mine. I just definitely played myself.
We have a local player, Cody Napier, here showing up in fifth place playing Jund. We have Greg Dugan playing Dredge in sixth, Jonathan Aiken with Merfolk in seventh, and then Abraham Stein playing Gruul Phoenix in eighth. So a second showing for that deck. But with the classics, obviously you see a little bit of difference, but technically there is no Hogak in this top 8, right?
Yeah, you got it.
Technically, even the Dredge list. I'll check. I'll double check. Nope. Couldn't make
Hogak,
it out.
There it is.
Couldn't make it out. Take it back.
Oh,
this should be Hogak Dredge. What are you doing, Douglas?
You should open the last present. Should have just stopped there.
Should have just stopped there.
Got selfish. Got greedy.
The last thing that we should touch on here is the standard classic, and with the standard metagame, honestly, I haven't seen it really fluctuate. To be honest, we have the winning list is Chris Anderson playing Bant Scapeshift, defeating Adam Martin and playing Jeskai Hero, which is kind of new. It is playing some wild cards. Okay, I forgot about this list.
Yeah, I shout out to Christian Kever, who is a player who's been trying to put something like this together. I don't know if they know each other or whatever else, but that's who I thought of.
That's true.
Yeah,
that 100%. And this list is wild. So obviously we have the Hero Precinct 1, but we have Lightning Stormkin, we have Tomic Distinguished Advocist, Imperial Eagle, Feather, Tajik, Aurelia, Elite Guard Mage, Shalai, Lyra Dawnbringer as the creature suite. that is a lot. And then we have Planeswalkers. We have 3 Teferi Time Raveler, 1 Teferi Hero Dominaria. For spells, we have Justice Strike, Deafening Clarion, and Depose Deploy. Then we have Jeskai Lands. And then some interesting ones on the sideboard. We have like Settle the Wreckage showing up here, which is pretty much falling out of favor. Chandra, Wicked Inferno, Legion War Boss, Deputy of Detention, Tecatli Honor Guard, and Aether Gust.
Nice.
So a pretty interesting list. This isn't a list that's going to take advantage of your Jeskai Legend. You need a lot of spells for that one. This is definitely a creature deck. But certainly showing that like Hero Precinct 1 is more than just like Esper. Like you can kind of you broaden your horizons with that card. I know that there were like Mardu lists that were around for a while, and I think it's really unfortunate that the Kalia that we got just doesn't like
do anything.
Doesn't do anything. Unfortunately, it doesn't really because I think that would have been like an interesting thing to like people try to build around.
I mean, you could play like Hero Kalia Aurelia.
Yeah, and Boros Feather and
like
Feather. Yeah.
Feather, like you could do that if you wanted to.
I don't know if that'd be as good.
I don't know either, but you could.
You could.
I want to make mention like Settle the Wreckage does not feel good to me right now. Like,
yeah, it's just like a weird thing to have there.
You settle your opponent's zombies, and then they go put lands into play
and get more zombies.
I mean, they can only do it so many times.
True.
So maybe that's it, but it does not feel great to me. The only thing I know about the top 16, because again, I am driving and not looking at my phone and these lists because I am a good person. Maybe. But shout out to Bob Cole, who was 14th, correct?
No.
12th?
No. Clay Spiegelmeyer was 12th.
Wait, what? Who? Bob was in the top 16? Or was he in Modern? Go back to the Modern Classic.
Go back to the Modern Classic.
I take it back. I might have been Modern. Not feel bad. Well, congrats to Clay as well. Indianapolis just killing it.
Just wrecking it. Clearly driving into the
belly of the beast.
The belly of the beast, the trap as it were.
No, check the classic. I'm not kidding. I
am going back. Okay,
it
just takes time.
Why?
It's not instantaneous.
Why?
Right? Anyway, let's see, Modern Classic, and Bob Cole playing Hogak.
Okay, well, never mind. I take it all back. But no, I believe he just joined. He joined a new team, and I cannot remember the name off the top of my head. But I believe he and a couple members had a pretty good showing for the first weekend as a new team. So,
well, fantastic. That's good to hear.
Guy who really pours his heart and soul into his testing is a quality guy. So.
And then, again, going back to Standard here real quick, we just see a lot of what we typically see. Again, the Jeskai hero list was the most sort of groundbreaking or interesting list. Everything else is stuff we've seen before, whether it be Mono Red, Jund Dinosaurs, Orza Vampires, Bant Scapeshift, Esper, or Temur Elementals, which is a lot of different things you could be playing in Standard. So I think that's
I like how you definitely read over a list that includes Jund Dinosaurs as old hat. Like, it amazes me. It took them the entirety of their time in Standard, but they finally found their zombie brethren and became playable.
Yeah. What a wild world.
Here's the thing. People for some reason, like, and there are some things in the Standard you can be frustrated about. The ramp strategies have been consistently very, very good. But people also aren't building their decks to beat those things. But I think cards in most Standards wouldn't be playable. You look at like Rotting Regisaur, like as top 8 events. You can kind of play whatever you want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and just cards, I mean, some of the cards in that Jeskai Hero deck that took second place are just buck wild. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that you just have to, you have to sort of appreciate where Standard is at. You're going into a large rotation. Like, they really nailed this format, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe War of the Spark's an outlier if you still don't like all the million Planeswalkers. And there's problem cards.
I could see people being a little frustrated for sure.
But even the plan of just playing all the Teferis has not been super great since M20. So
that's true.
Cool format. I mean, every card. It feels like every card's been relevant. Like Scapeshift just coming out of nowhere to just do some things in Standard. I think it's cool. So
yeah, I agree with that. But I think it's going to be everything we have for competitive. Now, one thing that you mentioned that Sam Black recently tweeted out about his worry about paper Magic sort of fading.
Yes.
He had an interesting statement, and I kind of just wanted to get your opinion on it. He said that he believes that Magic is the best paper game, but not the but can't be. It can be the best paper game, but can't be the best video game. I think that was an interesting way to look at it, because Mike, you and I both obviously play video games. We're pretty big nerds, and we like to do a lot of different types of gaming.
Yeah, I like a lot of video games.
And it was just like, I just never thought of it, that way. When I say like Magic is like the best game, I guess I don't really like have a line drawn, because I don't know. It's such an interesting way to think about it. I don't know if that's the way that you kind of conceptualize it, or if you had any like good thoughts or insights into that opinion, because I thought it was kind of interesting to think about.
I really do like that opinion, and I think that like you could argue semantics here. Like, what do you even define as a video game? Like, is it just any digital program where you can play a game? Then like sure, then like yes.
This is obviously in drawing comparisons to Arena,
right,
or Magic Online even, but probably mostly Arena.
Here's the thing: would you call Magic Online a video game? Yeah, that's interesting. Would you call Arena a video game?
I think Arena's closer.
I do agree with that as well, but they're technically the same game.
Yeah.
So again, I think there's semantics there, but no, I really do agree with this point. He and a couple other pros really pushing that concept of like the gathering.
Yes.
And paper Magic, I think there's just so many things that are, wait for it, lost in the shuffle. When you play digital versus paper, paper is there's something about playing in this even like a tournament setting where you have people around you, or even just like with a group of friends. There's some legitimacy that changes, like when you need to get out of your house and go and do something, versus like, I'm going to qualify for the PT in my underwear.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's just people do it. I don't know what to tell you. I think that like there's just something lost when you just watch it. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, and there's some streamers that spoke out and said that like they feel like they either have a strong sense of community or have cultivated a strong sense of community. And I don't disagree with them, but I think like I don't know. When I think of Magic, I'm never going to think first of the digital entries.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
It's not going to be. Now, do you think that's different for people whose entry point was Arena?
I don't know. I will say that in my job, I have come across some people who Arena was their first entry point now in the last year, and what that's done, and what we've seen. Hasbro even said this. It's pushed them to paper Magic.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
That's a true statement.
And I think that when you look at that, like that's really good, and that does speak to Arena being a quality product. But I think it's important, and again, as you said, like Hasbro having recognized this, like there's a reason it pushes people to the paper game. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That there's so many. There's so many little things. Like I was noticing at the when I was playing, I was drafting a fair amount this week because I'm going to play some M20 Sealed this weekend, and I just want to get a feel for cards in the format, right? Losing flavor text on Arena is real upsetting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just don't. I don't know, and like. Arena's pushing really hard now on like basic land selection. Like that's their big push for microtransactions. I actually completed the Planecation event just to get the forest, right? Mm-hmm. But like, man, that's something that you can do in paper Magic that's really hard to do digitally. Like, I want to show off like the lands that I like. These represent me. This art appeals to me. This artist speaks to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Things like even like the art themselves. Like now, granted, I guess some of the extension arts in Arena help with this, but like there's just something, I don't know. There's something different about the paper game, and maybe I'm romanticizing it because like there's a nostalgia factor for me, and that's just how I know it. I'm sure there are people who they only play Arena and they have no interest in like owning physical things. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Or they don't have the ability to like. There's not an LGS and like whatever else, or there's not someone to play with. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I think maybe I was getting too long-winded here. I agree with his statements, and I think like WotC's own data agrees with that statement.
Yeah, and like I just thought it was interesting to be like that. Arena in Magic itself couldn't compete with just like other like video game entities, you know what I mean? And I guess that makes sense to some degree. Like, it's hard to say like, is Magic better than something like Fortnite in certain terms, you know what I mean? It's hard to, it feels like a comparison of two things that are just too hard to compare.
Maybe I agree with that. Like, there's an element of like you are isolated, and you are playing this, just like anything, you're playing against an opponent. But I don't know. It feels even as like an esport, it feels different. You know what I mean? I think about like, I watched some. I was watching some Overwatch League actually.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's a different feel to it. Not just like it being a game, but it being something that you're coordinating with people with. I don't know. Magic just doesn't have that element. Even watching someone stream is fine. It's never been my preferred way to enjoy Magic, and I don't seek out streamers. Like, I don't. It is, if I am looking for Magic entertainment, it is the last form for me. And it's just because like I like I think commentary on somebody else playing is drastically different than like streaming to me.
Sure.
Because like I like watching it and figuring stuff out, and I don't necessarily always want to hear that person, if that makes sense. And maybe that's weird, but I don't know. It's not engaging to me the same way something else is. But like when you've introduced me to things like Summer Games Done Quick, yeah, I watched somebody play an entire 6-hour run of Chrono Trigger. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's engaging.
And I think it's engaging in a way that just like singleton Magic streaming isn't to me. And I don't think I'm the prototypical consumer for that, but it makes me agree with Sam Black.
Fair enough. Like I said, I just thought it was like something that struck me, and I was like, made me think. So I thought it was a good thing to talk about.
I will say something else. Speaking to something else to Sam's point, I don't want us to go too long. I know we're going to need to wrap up, but I have noticed that Arena, just like Magic Online, feeds something for me competitively that like Magic is what I look to for that, which is like I like to be competitive, so I like doing well, but like Arena also feeds like the worst, like Arena and Magic Online both feed the worst instincts of myself as a player. Like when I'm just like sitting alone in my office and like things that tilt me off, like I tilt, like, so I don't do that in public. You know what I mean? Like, because I don't feel like there's a constraint there. I just get angry.
Yeah, you can get angry. You can get ridiculously angry in the privacy of your own home.
I think it puts me it has put me in bad moods enough that like I've taken like week-long breaks from like Arena. You know what I mean? No. But like I don't experience that 9 times out of 10 playing like paper Magic because my brain does not see that as acceptable, I guess. I'm not really sure there, but it's something that is interesting to me.
I imagine it's like a weird sociological thing, right?
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure it is.
So I guess that makes sense.
Like, I'm sure like you could look into it and be like, part of it is definitely being like expectant. Like, yeah, I'm good. I should win this, which is like a horrible way to view anything. But like, I don't have a person to associate with.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
It's just
like I don't sit across from any opponent in a tournament and think like, oh, I'm better than this person, because I don't think that way. But on Magic, like on a digital platform, it comes into my head a lot. Like, it's really easy to criticize small plays and then lose and be like, well, and I don't like it. It puts me in bad places.
That's rough.
So,
all right. Well, I think it's going to be everything for us. We are obviously still on our way to Indianapolis, driving down I-70. It's long.
Yeah, we still got another hour here. Well, 40 minutes.
All right, fair enough. But we appreciate you listening for this week. If you're wanting to reach out to us, you can. You could do so via various mediums. We have a Twitter account. It's Your End Step, and when you add us, it's at Your End Step.
I get it.
We have a Facebook, facebook.com/@YourEndStep, and we also have email. At YourEndStep.com @YourEndStep@gmail.com.
There you go.
Sorry. If you're listening to us via a podcast app that lets you leave a rating or review, we would appreciate it. We really feel that we're a 5-star podcast. If you're listening to us via legit MTG, thank you so much for picking up the show, and check out some of the other articles they have in their online store. And if you're listening to us via MTG Cast, welcome back. We're glad to be back, and hopefully you'll be seeing all of our episodes here going forward. I want to give a quick shout out to our lovely sponsor, Comic Town. You can check them out at worldofcomictown.com. And of course to our patrons, thank you again so much for contributing to the show. You let us get new equipment like these lav mics that we have right now, which have allowed us to very easily record this podcast and not have it sound like pure garbage. At least audio quality.
There
What
you
we
go.
said
There you
might
go.
still be pure garbage, but you're along for the ride, so
If you got to this point, you can't give it back.
you can't. No refund on time, bud.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. We're in your brain forever.
Forever. So yeah, thank you again so much to our lovely patrons, and we will catch you next time. You have a great one. Bye.